Hello, everybody. I'm Mel Doerr, the Aloha shirt psychic, back from Europe, and I've been on other people's shows, but I haven't done much of my own lately. So I'm glad to have Linda Grindle in the house.
Our Monday show.
And I was talking to Linda before the show, we're all holding our breaths. I remember the 2024 election, and Linda and I were talking that night. We were like, ah,
The 2024, the
I'm
2020
sorry, the
election.
2020 election. And we
Yeah.
were like, ah. So,
Well, it doesn't happen till late that you know.
correct.
Are you talking about doing a show tomorrow at 4?
Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It will be 6:30 our time, 4:30 your time.
Yeah, they're going to be bringing in all kinds of confirmations.
Yeah, I know. That's why I want to do a live show.
Okay.
Arthur is going to be on my show tomorrow night at 4:30 Pacific, 5:30 Mountain, 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern.
Cool.
So that's why I just want to get some people together, and it's election night. We'll do our own psychic election coverage. How's that?
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So, yeah, I remember 2020, you and I were like, remember that?
Yeah, 2020 was cray.
Okay.
I'm so sure now he's going to lose. I'm not even as worried as I was before.
Well, I get a little nervous before election. You know, I always do. But
Did you hear he's telling everybody in the Congress, don't you dare call the don't dare say, Trump has lost. Don't you dare.
he's telling who that?
Congress,
Really? So
his minions in Congress. He's already warning them, you better not dare say.
well, he can try that, but good luck. He can't do. I mean, if they say that, I mean, if they let him get by with it, then they're as bad as he is.
Once they see he's lost beyond a reasonable doubt. Remember when he caused that insurrection and they were all talking trash about him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I see a blue wave coming, is what I see.
Okay.
Um, I think we're going to take back over the House, and I feel the Senate as well. What do you think?
I think the Senate by the hair of your chinny chin chin,
That's what I see.
but I see the Senate.
I mean, you mean the House,
No, the Senate.
the Senate. Okay, so we'll take that over. And what do you think about the House?
And I think Tester will win.
Okay, so there you go. So we'll have the Senate and the House.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Um, all righty then. Let's get started, shall we? The one thing I want to touch on, people were asking, it's not in the questions, but Trump's supposed little secret with Johnson, with Mike Johnson. And I think what it was is Trump somehow is going to try to keep Johnson from certifying the election, but it won't succeed.
Yeah, he won't be in office.
Right. It won't succeed at all. So, all right. That's what they're trying, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So Will was asked if we can make predictions for every state. Not today because we don't have time.
Yeah, I was supposed to do, my friend sent me the list of senators. I'll be honest with you, I can't do it this time.
Mm-mm.
I'm kind of white.
Yeah, me too. It's tiring. But I still feel, having said all that, that there will be a blue wave.
Yeah.
And
Well, Congress is really going to take over.
and I feel like
That's where the money goes to Ukraine. That's good news.
we'll win the House and the Senate. Like I agree, it's razor thin in the Senate, but we'll get it.
Yeah, we'll get it. You know what's good is that that other guy claimed he was shot in the military, and now the military is coming back saying when. We don't have any records, so now he has to admit he lied.
There's a lot more of that going to be coming out, a lot more truth coming out. So, yay. Okay. Uh, Laura, I think it's DiVary or something, DiVary. Hi, my favorite people. What happened to Stacey Abrams? Well, Kamala
He's still
Harris,
working.
she's still working. She's still around. And Laura also wants to know if Kamala will offer her a job in her administration.
I think she will.
So do I. I think so. Um, yeah, Stacey Abrams is seriously still around. She hasn't
Yeah,
gone anywhere.
she did a lot of work, especially in Georgia.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of work in Georgia. Okay. Flower power. I like that. I like that
Are
name.
you reading my list or are you reading your list?
Uh, well, these were posted on mine, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, because I did, you asked me to do a list too.
Okay, we can read both of them. It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, just, no, that's fine. Do your second one, flower power.
Okay. Um, all right. Let's see. Let me get back to where I was. I lost my space here. All right. Hold on. Give me 1 second, Linda.
No problem.
Um, let me see here. I'm sorry. I don't know why this is happening. Okay, okay, here we go. Um, flower power. Let's see. We did that. Hold on a minute. I don't know where I'm at. I'm curious about this thing called HARP. I believe there was no way anyone can manipulate our weather, but because I have an eye problem, I can say on the internet very long to sort it through. I can't stay on the internet very long to sort it through. Can you tell me what it was? These people are obsessed. Nobody's manipulating the weather.
Nobody's manipulating.
That's
People in line to go see Trump said, oh yeah, Biden manipulated the hurricanes. No, he didn't.
yeah, that is such BS, and people believe it. I'm like, what? Okay, it's your turn, dear.
And a quick prayers out for Oklahoma going through these tornado storms, including Texas. Joy just wrote me, they're on tornado watch. My cousin Sue's daughter had to go into the shelter yesterday. It's pretty scary.
I've just heard that Oklahoma has a lot of severe storms coming. So prayers to them. It's like almost 70 degrees here today, and it's overcast, but it is unheard of in November in Chicago to be this warm.
It's going to be 70s here too. And they're even talking about turning our power off on and off this next week because the humidity is so low and the winds are going to kick up.
Wow. I'm just nervous here about when it does start getting cooler about tornadoes. They're unheard of this time of year, but I do see tornadoes hitting, this part of Illinois this time of year and very, very soon. So,
Wow.
and luckily, a lot of people here have basements, myself included. So,
I'm glad you do. I'm
oh,
glad
I
you do.
was in a tornado once, and if you're in a tornado place where there's tornadoes, have a basement, trust me.
Well, the good news about Oklahoma, if you belong to the tribe will help you build a storm shelter.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Then I guess
Okay. So
go
uh,
ahead.
my question is, will McConnell be punished for his blocking everything in the Senate? This is from Cloud Shadows. I hate to tell you, but no.
Because he
Basically, because he's king for a day, he can pretty much do what he wants.
but he really didn't do anything illegal.
Now,
Had he done something illegal, yes, but he's getting punished bad enough because of his health and also because of he's not going to stay in the Senate long. I just see him
now, well, he's stepping down as the big cheese,
right, right.
and he's going to a small turd about this big.
You know what bothered
His
me?
health is no good either.
What bothered me about him was how he was talking about some of the Trump things Trump did he didn't agree with, but then he went ahead and endorsed him. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he had to because Putin was behind it.
Oh, of course, of course. Well, the party too was like, you got to do it. But, I think after Trump goes away, I see, like some of the old order Republican Party coming back. Uh, what do you think?
Well, I actually saw Trump in total shock because when he loses this time, the team isn't standing behind him.
Nope. Because,
And he will call out for some illegal stuff to be done. And I see military coming to get him.
he's going to try some crap with messing with the election, I'm telling you. But, I think after the election, this judge is not going to give him much leeway in the sentencing.
No,
Um, it's a tight race, but I don't think it's going to be as tight as they say it's going to be.
I don't either. I've often felt it would be a comfortable win.
I got a foreboding feeling for a bit, but I'm not getting it now.
I'm not. And
Oh,
even with the Senate, I know it's a tight squeeze, and it may take us a few days to find out about the Senate.
Yeah, that's gonna be a nail biter.
But I do feel Tester will win.
But I've got a funny feeling we'll get the Senate. Spirit shows me a big blue wave, uh, literally, but also I keep seeing different Supreme Court justices, that Kamala is going to put on the court. So
Oh, yeah.
that's also just an indication to me that the Dems are going to keep the Senate.
Well, the other thing I'm feeling is that when she gets in there, she's going to talk about adding a couple more to the nine total. What is there, nine now? She's going to add a couple of more SCOTUSes. And that, remember, I kept seeing them packing their bags, putting boxes on the desk and packing their bags. I see some people, and I also see big time IRS stuff coming up with them. And I see them like, you can't do this to us. And that we're just leaving.
Well, I see two, possibly three leaving, and two of them under indictment, Clarence Thomas being one. And Kavanaugh's not out of the woods either.
No, he's going to be in trouble with the IRS.
And I see that whole thing coming back up again with the FBI looking into his behavior with Christine Blasey Ford. That has not gone away.
No,
Um, all right, here's just breaking off the subject a little bit. Ann 44 says, when do you see them eliminating the switching back and forth daylight savings time in the spring and
it's
fall?
not going to be for maybe 8 years. I'm so sorry.
It's going to be a while.
Maybe the gift from Kamala before she leaves office.
Um, Hawaii doesn't play with their clocks. St. Croix doesn't. A few places don't, I think. But I wish they'd leave it.
I like this part because we got an extra hour.
Yeah, I like it.
But when I worked as a nurse, you got paid for that extra hour if you worked night shift. And you also got deducted for the hour if you were night, if they went into the other one. So they paid accordingly.
All right. Uh, your turn.
Okay. Should we be concerned with the Proud Boys and the alleged signals Trump is sending with black and gold colors? He's wearing black and gold, and I feel a lot of that is, may I say, quote unquote, foreplay.
It is.
Because the big wig for the Proud Brothers is in jail right now. And I don't see the ability for them to create chaos like they did before. Or maybe they out and out refuse because they don't want to go through this hassle.
Well, by him wearing the black and gold, it's a wink and a nod to them. I mean, he should, you should be wearing like blue, white, and red, right? Um, so, they're going to try some stuff, but they won't succeed. And there's going to be a lot more of them ending up in jail. The thing that concerns me would be the rise of the Proud Boys, but at some point, I see them being kept hugely at bay.
Yeah. Well, and don't forget, a lot of these people have families. They see what happens. They'll find you. They're still funding the ones that did it at the Capitol. And it's like, if he's not president, they're not going to do it because they're not going to be able to get off.
And this isn't the first time that there's been a rise of like the Proud Boys or organizations like the KKK. In the 30s and 40s, especially in the 30s and 40s, the KKK was huge, and there were a lot of presidents that supported them. So,
Can
uh,
you put your thing on pause real quick? I
give
just
me
got a grip.
give me 1 second. Okay. Hi, we're back. We just had a little technical glitch.
I had to get some iced tea.
That's a technical glitch. Okay. Uh, Asherona says, do you see James Comer losing the election? Thanks, my friend. James Comer's from Kentucky. I think he's the first congressional district or something. He's chairman of some kind of committee in the House or something, accountability or something.
I'm so sorry, but I don't see Kentucky getting rid of him.
I don't either.
I could be wrong.
But,
Hopefully, I'm wrong.
but they'll keep Andy Bashir their governor. So
Yeah.
I see them going more purple actually, but I see James Comer not. At some point, he'll go away, just not this time.
Who's running against him, or do you know?
I don't know. Um, okay. Lelaine, California says, oh, I'm sorry, it's your turn. Go ahead.
I don't even know if Dr. Phil is on anymore. I
Me,
haven't watched him in years.
me either. I didn't like him.
He has some sort of podcast. He's supposed to be a psychologist. How can he not see his narcissistic sociopath tendencies? By the way, he's no longer anything. If you go on a show, you have to acknowledge he's no longer a psychologist. They revoked his license for
I
some
can't,
of the stuff he did, including sexual harassment.
I can't say I'm sorry about that.
No,
Um, well, karma happens, right? Uh,
yeah. And I remember I stopped watching him years ago when Biden was running. Not Biden, uh, Bush. Remember, he was the love, everybody liked him, and Oprah had him on, and I thought he was really smart. And then he had Bush on, and if Bush had come to a full stop, Dr. Phil's head would have gone all the way up his rear. He was so giddy, like a child, all over Bush. And I thought, and by the way, he never asked the other candidate to be on. They're complaining at Saturday Night Live. You didn't ask Trump. Yeah, well, nobody wanted him.
I stopped watching Dr. Phil when he would have people who were accused of domestic violence on his show. And then it came out that he was an abuser. And he was just brutal on those people who engaged in domestic violence, as someone should be, absolutely. I abhor domestic violence.
Yeah.
But then he was doing it himself. And I never trusted him. I always thought he was kind of a hypocrite.
Well,
And
when I saw that thing with that Bush, I said, ew.
yeah, I haven't watched him for a while. Okay. Uh, let's see. What do you see for J.D. Vance's political future? He's not up for re-election until 2029, so we still have to deal with him for another 4 years.
Who?
J.D. Vance.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be out on his ass.
I think, this was his downfall. Nobody wants that whole 2025 thing. It's going to be an end of the MAGAs. And
He's a
also
loser. He wouldn't have got anybody even to come see him if it wasn't for Trump.
that's correct. And also, I'm going to be a little bit of a smartass here and say at some point he'll have to give up his eyeliner. Sorry
He,
about that. I just couldn't let that one slide.
he's done nothing for his people.
As you say, ultimately he's going to end up being a nothing burger.
Yeah, a nothing burger.
Here,
I wouldn't doubt if they do a petition to get rid of him, my friend.
I think they will. Here, Linda, I just had to grab this. Here is JD Vance, nothing burger.
Grindle says predicts nothing burger. I had those printed up just for our event in Chicago.
Yes, I got to talk to Aiden and see about how the editing's coming along because I want to put it up for our members.
What editing?
He filmed the whole thing and he's going to edit it and put it together so we can put it and send it to everybody so we can put it up for our members.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Okay.
He's
So
so
that's
talented.
what happened to JD Vance. Nothing burger.
He's not going to, he might even be, there might be a petition to take him off before it's time for him to come up.
You know, I see some debate going along with that. Yeah, we will. No, we won't. Um, I mean, he'd never resign on his own, that's for sure. But I think his career is pretty much over after this.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Your turn, Linda.
I would love Leora. I would love if you could discuss, is it possible that Biden steps down, they swear in Kamala before the inauguration? No.
What was the first part of that? I'm sorry.
This person says, I would love if you could discuss, is it possible Biden steps down and makes Kamala the president no.
No. After the election, do you think that Biden is going to try to put some more justices on the court? Some people are asking about that.
I actually see her doing it
I see her doing it absolutely.
almost right away.
I don't think Biden is going to do anything that would cause, well, no matter what he does, they're still going to criticize it. The MAGAs will. But I don't think he's going to do anything to really make it look bad for Kamala or make some kind of decision uh that would make the Dems look bad.
Well, also somebody's saying she'll strike while the iron is hot. So what's going to happen is after Trump loses and he really shows his rear to everybody and people are turned off by how he's acting, it's like I just see everybody's back turned. Remember, I saw tomatoes being thrown at him years ago. Uh, he's going to be such a turnoff that even the people who were standing for him are going to be like, yeah, whatever, do what you need to do.
When you said that, I saw an image. My guides gave me an image of him with his head in the pillory or the stocks. Remember, they would put your hands through those holes. And I saw him going like that, his head through it, and people throwing, like you said, tomatoes. I was thinking like rotten cabbages and eggs and all that kind of
Yeah. And you know what else is? I told everybody, and I'm going to remind you, uh, he, well, he is going to be furious at the Supreme Court because they're going to turn down something he put forward and he's going to talk trash about them,
Oh, yeah.
which could be why I saw the Supreme Court packing their bags. Maybe there's all kinds of death threats. The
Uh,
other flash I had, which I'm going to talk about on my show, uh, I had a flash of Putin being furious with him.
oh, yeah.
I saw Putin saying, you know what? He did this to himself. He just couldn't keep his mouth shut.
I still see whistleblowers coming out of the Putin administration for some reason. They'll defect somewhere, and they're going to come out and talk about the things that Trump was talking to Putin about, and it's going to be true. And I see an investigation launched into that, and they're going to come out and talk about and say what Trump was talking to Putin about while Trump wasn't president. So therefore, Trump can't hide behind presidential immunity.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
how
Putin was laughing, saying he had all the intel information that Trump stole from the White House. He was laughing. He said, yeah, I already have it.
Right. And it's also going to come out about, once again, how Trump was colluding with Putin to have them interfere in this election. It's going to come
Yeah.
out.
You know who I had a dream about last night? Do you know Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yes.
Um, him and I were talking. He was just as lovely in person. I think we were at a restaurant. We were just friends. I would have loved to have been more, but he didn't pay no attention to me. But he said to me that he had witnessed UFOs and that they were coming. And by the way, I'm going to send you a clip. I'll put it on my YouTube too. Nicole and I were at Jaden's baseball game, and there, I swear to God, we saw a UFO up in the clouds, too high to be a balloon, catching the sun's reflection, moving, and she took a film of it. So I need to send it to you.
I want to see it. How is my Nicole doing, by the way?
Oh, she's fine. We were screaming, beam us up, beam us up.
Uh, I just love her. She's so
No onions on my hamburger, please.
I love it. Just
She's just
shrimp.
she's
Shrimp.
doing so good. She's such a good mama to that beautiful son.
She's a sweetie. Just
And
shrimp.
now he's older and he's he used to want to see his cray cray nana. But now he's like he wants to hang with his friends and all that. Of course, when he sees me, I wear my underwear over my clothes. So I embarrass the hell out of him.
Yeah, right.
And I try to dance the samba when I got my music going.
And as you're screaming, beam me up, no onions, and I'm hollering, only shrimp, only shrimp.
Is this gonna look too fat on me? I used to embarrass the hell out of my daughter. I used to take him down to a place where you could go swimming, her and her girlfriend Michelle, which was like her sister. And they always diddle daddle. If I was down there with them, they wouldn't go get me the snacks fast enough. Or they diddle daddled coming out to the car when it's time to go. I used to blast Hispanic music. Blast. cha-chas and everything, and I'd be dancing, and they were just so, Mom, no, no.
That would be something I would do. Anyway, all righty. So Laura Sellers says, after he loses, will 45 evade justice by successfully fleeing to the Middle East? I don't see that.
He
Um,
may try. Somebody said Scotland. Oh, hell no, Scotland will not take him. The UK has already said they won't take him.
on-
Canada's already said they won't take him.
once he's sentenced, they revoke the passport. So
I thought he had to turn his passports in New York.
I think I thought you did when you were under indictment. I don't know, but I know that when you're sentenced, you're supposed to, but maybe since he's running for president, that's a horse of a different color. I don't know.
Well, he could take a private plane and get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, but the problem is you have to have a passport to land there.
Yeah, but he's not, trust me, unless it's something like Saudi Arabia where the people there will allow him in.
We would put so much pressure on that country that it wouldn't be pretty. So I don't think
Let
there's
me
any.
tell you something. He is in danger when he loses because Putin is upset with him and doesn't trust his big mouth and may even try to get him snuffed out.
I was just going to say I don't even think Putin would want him unless
No, but Putin doesn't want him talking.
nope, not at all. Not at all. Because but I see some whistleblowers coming.
Yeah, well, the people are already saying how many times he's talked to Putin. He talks to Putin and Netanyahu all the time.
But I'm just thinking that the government's not so stupid. I got a funny feeling they might have been listening into some of those
Oh
conversations.
God, yeah, they watch him like a hawk.
I mean,
They know what size underwears he wears.
they were well, probably a pretty small one because never mind, I won't go there. All right, I think it's
Oh,
your
he looks like he's lost weight though. He looks a lot slimmer. Of course, he is wearing the darker suits,
there you go. The golden
but
black.
he's definitely losing his mind. He's going in circles.
He's cray
It's
cray.
very sad to see. Like they said, elder abuse. Why are people still letting him talk?
Um, right. I think also could we just send out a little prayer? This tropical storm Raphael is growing and it's hitting Cuba right now and it's coming up. It's
I saw that. Oh God, like Florida needs.
like they need another hurricane.
And of course, Trump got $8 million to help people with the hurricanes and never gave a dime to anybody.
I think these hurricanes are going to end up well, to Satan. I don't know if he can run again, but there's going to be a lot of
He
criticism.
can't run again.
There's going to be a lot of criticism on the Republican Party because of DeSatan and how he's handling the whole hurricane thing.
And how he lets that you can't sue the insurance companies, they get carte blanche.
That's going to change in Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's your turn.
I want to ask you a question that's not on here.
Okay.
These young women that are dying from sepsis because they won't take care of a dead fetus, does the Supreme Court hear that at all? Do they have any kind of regret that they weren't more specific, or is it just whatever?
Believe it or not, I think Amy Comey Barrett might, but the rest of them don't really care. It's really sad. And at some point, I see Roe v. Wade overturned, and I see some legislation passed that no matter what, if a woman, has a fetus that dies inside of her, that they would be able to remove it. Because, and there will be some kind of legal implications for those who refuse to save her life.
Well, no, the Roe v. Wade, that's one of the first things she's promised to do. If she doesn't get that back on the book, she will do some sort of executive order.
Well,
Because right now, Texas doesn't have any OBGYNs. They're leaving in droves.
they don't, those Supreme Court justices, maybe one, the rest of them don't care about the women dying. They don't. And
But
it's
women need health care.
they do. And what I
Even
see,
for a tubal pregnancy, they can't. Oh my God.
what I see, we'll see abortion's legal here in Illinois. But what I see coming is that once the Dems take over, that a lot of these draconian measures against women will certainly stop. And with the new
Yeah,
court coming in, Roe v. Wade will be overturned.
yeah.
And I think that a lot of these cases are that where women are being prosecuted because or doctors even for saving a woman's life, it'll go to a new Supreme Court, and that's what causes them to uphold Roe v. Wade again.
Okay. But it'll be a different Roe v. Wade. It's going to be written better. Might even change its name.
It'll be written much better. Uh, so, you know, all women get out and vote. I can't imagine any woman voting for Donald Trump
What
because
did I say? I've told people, I wrote on my YouTube, you probably don't read my community page, but two things I want to tell you. Besides the tomatoes being thrown, we will see that. I said when Roe v. Wade was turned over by the Supreme Court, they've awakened the sleeping giant. That was the beginning of the end. And right now, that the news media is finally getting it. Gee golly, I think it's the women. I think it's the you think that's why they didn't get the red wave. That was just beginning. They didn't get the red wave because of Roe versus Wade. This is going to be wiping all of that out. The second thing I said was 2 years ago, and a lot of people wrote said, I remember that show. I said that, and I'm tooting my own horn, but it's my guide. So I just want to tell you because my guides are so right. My guides told me that that Kamala Harris would be the first female president of the United States. This is before anybody really paid attention to her.
I remember you saying that. I remember.
Yeah, and it was because one of the reasons was because Biden was handing her the baton. And I thought, and I saw two, so I thought it was in the second term he would, because remember, I never saw him completing the second term.
Right.
I thought maybe he gets sick or something.
Yes,
But
that's
what
right.
it was,
You did say that. That's right.
yeah, what it was he was giving her the baton to take over for the second term, which would have been his second term, but she's winning on her own, and that's even better.
It is better because then nobody can say, well, she wouldn't have.
Who knew those guys said out of the blue several years ago she would be the first female president of and a black female.
I remember you've been saying that all along.
And everybody's like, but people don't really like her. She's kind of, but you know what? She's strong. She can handle it.
She came out of the gate running.
Let me tell you, all those menses, they got to put their gonads in her purse. Let me tell you right now. She don't mess.
At first, I was a little nervous, but then when I saw her and then I saw Walls, I was like, whoa, this was incredible. The energy was incredible.
Oh, and you know what? She's not going to be with her nose up in the air. She really is going to be a person that tries to work, but she's not going to be a putz like our beloved Biden. I love him so much. But, he kept thinking he could work across the table. And
Right.
he just couldn't do it because, he loved to talk about himself and he loved to talk about the good old days, but that didn't move mountains. He
Well,
got a lot done considering, but this one coming in, she's locked and ready to go.
I see a return of the old order Republicans, the ones with some common sense. So,
Common sense.
right.
I'd be afraid if I was her, only because the Republicans are going to make such a change that there'll be a decent Republican running in the next cycle. That she really has to make some waves to.
I was just going to say that. Saturday Night Live did a sketch, and she was on Saturday Night Live.
I know I saw it.
When what's her name was looking in the mirror and Kamala was there.
Yeah,
Yes, that
and
was.
it was, and Trump complained. He needs to. They're supposed to give us, and somebody says, "Well, okay, if Saturday." Oh, the producer of Saturday Night Live says, "Well, we thought about putting them, but we have a rule about our staff being sexually molested."
When you were talking about Trump again, I had that image once again in my head of his head in the stockade in the pillory, his hands, people throwing like rotten cabbages, eggs, tomatoes, rotten onions, and the little caption Trump is saying, "They're stealing produce out of my garden."
Well, I got to tell you something. He has the people who love him. You should have seen They were showing South Carolina today where he's supposed to appear. Crickets. Nobody was in line.
No.
They are just slowly just stopping. They're just not even dealing with him anymore. And that's the hardest part for him to handle. When he starts screaming and the media doesn't really watch him, that's because they're like, yeah, whatever, great, great. They're not going to watch him anymore. They're not going to, when he starts yelling, I won, maybe the first couple of times they'll do a thing and then they're like, yeah, whatever.
He's still got some stuff up his sleeve that are going to be shockers to everybody. I see that. But
Oh, he's going to talk trash about the Supreme Court. He's going to be so mad at them, just like he did with Kavanaugh. Do you remember when Kavanaugh turned? Well, and he says, was saved him. It's because of me he's even there. And yeah, he's going to talk trash.
talk trash about the governors too, because the governors are saying that they're not going to let it, even Republican governors are saying they're not going to let anybody mess with their electors. So he's going to talk trash about them. Um, okay, this is Dana Chase says, hello, do either of you see a significant earthquake 6 or higher happening on the Hayward Fault near the East Bay? Thank you. She must be talking about San Francisco.
Yeah, Hayward Fault's a good one.
I see some small shakers, maybe
I
5 or 6,
see. There will be a good sized one, but that's a few years away, at least 10, 12 years away.
but
But there's other ones coming around. There was a 6.1 off the coast of Oregon.
I see some minor ones coming. I don't know if 6 is a minor one, but I mean, I don't see any loss of life, some damage, but I do see some major quakes coming to California I agree within the next 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
Okay, so do you see, this is from ERA. Do you see the federal law changing so they can stop or adding to the federal law so they can stop these book bans?
Actually, yes. Um, and a lot of states passing legislation to stop book bans. I mean, some they'll be able to stop, like if it's pornographic in nature, I get that. But when they're banning, To Kill a Mockingbird and A Catcher in the Rye, that was I mean, those were our assignments when we were in high school English literature.
Classic, classics.
We had to read those. I'm surprised they didn't ban The Hobbit.
But
But
they don't ban the Bible that has terrible things.
That's right. So I see legislation coming to say that they can't, and it is discriminatory. Like you ban this book, but you allow the Bible, but you won't allow the Bhagavad Gita or the Quran. Those are religious books. So I do see legislation absolutely on the federal
Yeah,
level. They can't do that.
within 2 years of her taking office.
And these states that put up the Ten Commandments and make it mandatory, I see legislation coming to say that the schools can't mandate that people
Well,
have.
they were able to stop by Pledge Allegiance because it was going towards God and they had to take that out of the school.
Um, I feel that that whole Ten Commandment thing they're going to change that because I think it's in Texas or some of those states it's mandatory now they put it in classrooms. I see the Fed stepping in. It'll go to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court will say, wait a minute, you cannot force schools to put that up there because
Yeah.
it's discriminatory to other people who are from different religions.
And let me tell you, this voucher thing with all these religious schools getting all this money that the public pays for, that's going out the door.
It'll stop. That'll absolutely stop. No federal money for those schools. Parochial schools will have to fund themselves. And I agree that they should fund themselves. I mean, if they want to be,
Yeah,
that's fine. Religious schools can do it, absolutely, but not public schools,
yeah.
to put up the stuff we're talking about or to ban books.
Right.
All right. I think it's your turn. It's your turn.
No, it's your turn.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Susie, I can't pronounce this. Susie Skorwarko says, this is a good one. Does the FBI have in their possession the orange ones pictures taken from Epstein's safe?
Oh God, the CIA has it.
Oh yeah.
They have all those pictures with them with them young little girls. And Barr was the one that shut it, made sure they couldn't reveal it.
They have a lot of damning information and pictures of Donald Trump and all kinds of stuff that was taken from Epstein's safe.
I love it.
It'll hit the public, you'll see.
It might take a couple of years.
Yeah, but it's going to come out loud and clear.
Um, do you guys, Jane said, do you guys ever see Jasmine Crockett or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez being president? I saw her married and pregnant. Alexandria, I saw her married.
I don't see her as president.
Okay.
I do think they're hitting on something within the next 25 years. We will have a Hispanic president. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, my turn, right?
Yeah.
Um, Auntie Vaughn says, Aloha, Auntie Mel and Lady Linda. Thank you. How does November 6th, the day after the election, make the tangerine toddler feel? The tangerine toddler, she called her. Well, I don't think no we'll have the results back by then.
Wait, what was the question again?
How does November 6th, the day after the election, make the tangerine toddler feel?
He's going to be very upset.
It's going to be totally PO'd.
They may not have all the ending numbers, but they got enough to know she's won.
Right. Um, it's funny when you in this country, when we say he's going to be pissed, it means angry. In Great Britain, it means drunk.
Yeah.
He'll be both.
Yeah.
All right, your turn.
Will Trump finally get what he deserves after the election from Jack Smith? Big time.
Yes, yes, and yes. All right. Lucy Claire, hello, Lucy Claire says, what is Clarence Thomas's next move? And what about Jenny?
Jenny's got to tell you, I saw Jack Smith pulling out that subpoena for Jenny, and that's going to cause a lot of heartache for Clarence Thomas.
Clarence Thomas is going to be under investigation, and he already is, and under indictment. And I see him found
And
guilty.
he might actually go in the hospital or something.
He is. He's gonna get off the court. He'll say for health reasons, but I'm telling
Yeah.
you, that man is gonna end up a convicted felon.
Whoa, I didn't see that.
I see him under investigation, and I see him being convicted.
Well, I see him in trouble with the IRS.
He's gonna get
See,
convicted.
the thing is, they didn't have a lot of this as laws against. He knew better than to take those gifts and then not pay taxes on them. However, there was nothing in the books that said these people couldn't do that, but they were supposed to report it.
Right.
But there's nothing that says they couldn't do it. That's where they can't really tie them up and hang them and they have to come up with new rules is what the new Congress is going to do. They're going to start doing new. They say Congress can't touch. Yeah, they can. It's in the Constitution.
But
Congress can make sure you guys follow the rules.
But I still think he's going to be under indictment for some of the shenanigans he's pulled that was really illegal. Jenny's going to be in a lot of trouble because of the whole insurrection thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she was part of it.
Certainly.
Insurrection is a pretty big thing.
And then she lied. And lying to Congress, there's an old saying, like I've heard Glenn Kirshner say this. Sometimes the crime doesn't get you, it's the cover-up that does.
That's what happened with Trump.
You got it. So there you have it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of trouble. I don't know if he'll make it. I see him going downhill.
It's your turn.
Is Mark Meadows ever going to be held accountable?
Yes.
Yeah, takes a little while, but yeah.
Okay. This is a good one. Cynthia Goebel says, how do you think the media will cover the election results? Will they be fair and reasonable? I think they'll be fair and reasonable in covering the election results. It's just everything else they cover that's not supposedly fair. But I see the fairness doctrine coming back. And I see legislation once again for that. Like if you give candidate X amount of time and commercials on your channel, you have to give candidate Y the same amount of time.
Right.
On national television and stuff like that. I see the fairness doctrine being reinstated or reenacted.
Oh, good.
It went away during the Reagan years.
Uh, will Kamala as president be safe?
Yes.
I think about a year of intense coverage. Hey, even on that Saturday Night Live, Lawrence O'Donnell was in the building. He said the FBI took over all the elevators. You know, he said it was extra, extra packed because they watch her like a hawk.
I'm sure that, they'll unravel some attempts uh, to do harm to her, but thank goodness I don't see any harm coming to her.
Okay, good.
Um, okay. MSG says, Hi, Mel and Linda. Will Biden use his immunity powers to end the chaos coming during election night and afterwards?
I don't see him needing to.
You won't. I mean, if they're going to try some BS on the Capitol and stuff like that while he's still president, he'll have no problem squelching that.
Yeah. Um, uh, is Colorado House race in District 4 Republican Lauren Boebert lose to the Democratic challenger?
Oh, I see her losing. It's
Okay.
a, absolutely. I could be wrong, but I see her gone.
Okay.
Okay. Deba Do. I like that name, Deba Do. Hi. When will we be done with 45? I feel we'll still be subject to all his legal woes after he loses the election. Well, yeah, he's gonna bitch and moan and blah 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 and try to say the election was unfair and the same old stuff. But sooner or later, I mean, he'll still get attention in the media, but not like it has been.
No, everybody's tired of it. He's a three-time loser.
I mean, it's tired, it's old stuff already. It's like, okay, let's move forward. I mean, this country has become like, a soap opera. And let's tune in today to see what's going on with the Donald Trump
Oh,
trial.
and then he announced he was running, because he wanted to try to stop any of the legal stuff happening to him. But I'm so tired of him fighting.
I just can't believe it's hard for me to, I mean, I believe it, but it's hard for me to believe that there is a convicted felon running for the president of the United States. That is just, I can't even believe we're having this discussion.
Isn't that something? By the way, they'll change a lot of the stuff, the qualifications for a president.
Yes.
They'll change some of that.
Yeah. I
Like
see.
you have to show your IRS, you have to give your medical, which Walz and her both did their IRS statements. And Trump just feels he doesn't have to because he's special.
And if you are a convicted felon and have not yet been sentenced, you're not going to be able to run for president. That'll,
Right.
oh, okay. Uh, is it my turn or yours? I forget.
Your turn.
Okay. Candy Lady says, hello to the dynamic duo. Thank you. What role, if any, will SCOTUS play to interfere in the election winner declaration? Will Madam President be declared the winner Tuesday night? Well, if Trump takes it to the Supreme Court, he's not going to win. I still think they're not going to have all the results Tuesday night. Trump won't concede. He will not concede the election.
Yeah, but we know she's going to win because her numbers are high enough on she won. But some of the last stuff they have to,
Right,
she's going to probably get 300 and some odd electoral votes.
I think. But
I don't see Texas going to her. I just don't see it.
he's not going to concede, though. I can tell you that right now.
He never did the last time.
It won't hold up the election. He can try. He'll try, but it won't. I mean, he's going to try to
I
interfere.
saw her in her inaugural. She's going to look really pretty, by the way. Her inaugural ball.
He's got something up his sleeve with Mike Johnson, and I think it's about certifying the election, as I said. Okay. It is your turn.
Um, do you see the following Democrats winning U.S. Senate? Gloria Johnson, who I really like from Tennessee. She's the blonde that worked with the three.
She's got a fighting chance if she just goes and knocks on a bunch of doors.
I see her and Lucas Coons from Missouri. I think he's going to win.
I get a good feeling with that.
And Debbie Morales Powell from Florida.
That one,
She's running against Rick Scott, right?
I think. That one I'm kind of
Yeah, up in the air.
right. Um, I hope she does, but I got a funny feeling she might not.
Yeah.
All right, we got time for one more, I think, right?
Okay, you do it.
Okay. Um, all righty. So, Always Blessed says, will they ever be able to root out all of the propaganda that Russia plants in our social media? It seems that it seems to be at the very root of the divisiveness of the country, and we cannot heal collectively with their interference. Well, let me just interject. That's what Russia wants. They want us to have divisiveness because it weakens us.
Mhm.
But Always Blessed wants to know if they'll ever be able to root out all of the propaganda they put in our social media. I hear yes.
Well, I hear Putin is going.
Yes.
So
He's
when Putin goes, it ends all that.
They need to keep their fingers out of our
Because don't
election.
forget, Iran is doing it, China's doing it.
Of course, it's the new way. They're doing it. It's the new way to influence elections. And I see big plots uncovered showing how Russia, China, Iran, even India interferes in elections. And they're going to say, wait a minute, we're putting uh, checks and
Well,
balances in place so this cannot happen.
good.
So, all right, Miss Linda, it's been a slice. Next week, I'm on your show.
Yeah.
And hopefully by then we'll know who the new president is, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. Heck to the yeah.
It's going to be fun. Um, Thank you
I'm
so much.
looking forward to tomorrow. I don't have any anxiety at all.
I get a little anxious, but it's like, being going out on stage when you're, doing when you're doing a show or an actor or something. Get a little nervous, but then once you're out there, you feel the energy and boom, it just takes over. So, all right, my love, stay well
I
and
just saw Trump. I just saw him sitting there looking really pissed.
like this.
It's actually going to be his staff is very down because they know what's coming and they lied to him and tell him, oh, it's going to be okay. But I see him not being able to deal with anybody. He wants everybody out of the room.
Well, Trump is the kind of person that when he loses, he'll try to take everybody down with him.
Yeah,
So there's nothing worse than a fallen dictator. Nothing
yeah,
worse.
yeah.
And I'll leave everybody with that. So
Yeah.
everybody, please, if you haven't voted, go vote. If there are people around you that can't vote, take them to the
Take
polls.
him, take him.
Get them out there to vote. All
All
right.
right.
Next week, your channel.
Next week, my channel. You take care, honey.
All right. See you then.